evening, guys, and welcome to another edition of Etoro Bitcoin Q&A. Thank you for tuning in. I'm doing this to especially focus on the 2,490 people in United States that have allocated part of their savings to me, allocating 100% to Bitcoin and taking you through this bull run ride, which for hopefully, and I believe, has a long way to go still. So let me first do a little bit of an update on my expectations, and then in I guess about 5-10 minutes, howdy MK Deeper from Argentina, howdy Glenn Doherty in the chat. I'll be taking questions through the chat. So on YouTube, where you tune in, there's an option for live chat, and that's what I'll be looking for. Oh yeah, Jody is thinking about cashing out 50%, brother. I got your back. I will try and do my best to give you my take on what is absolutely best. But let's start by talking about my expectations for this bull run. Let me take up a price chart. Just looking at it myself here. Not that there's something that we necessarily need to have a look at, but right now, just to update you, the price is 36,000. I always say the short term really is. Nobody knows the short term. Trying to trade the short term is futile. Look, on average, the price of Bitcoin on a daily basis goes up with, look, I didn't do the calculation, but I'm guessing the average price goes up about 0.25% every day. So if you want to trade the short term, please do tell yourself and tell me, what kind of information do you have that can beat a 0.25% rise in price on a daily basis? I think it's around that. So look, since nobody knows the short term, which is what technical analysis does, I just think that it's futile. It's not a good idea to trade the short term. I mean, apart from losing out on potential price pumps, which we see all the time in Bitcoin, then it's also there's a fee, there's a trading fee every time you trade. So you really need to have some amazing information, which you don't. Nobody has on the short term. So my opinion on technical analysis, day trading, short-term trading compared to medium to long-term trading in Bitcoin is, unlike normal assets, Bitcoin has historically had a very clear 4-year cycle that evolves around the halving. And the halving is an event that happens approximately every 4 years. What happens is the fresh supply of Bitcoin is cut in half, and this triggers a lack of supply in the market that triggers the price to start moving up. Last time it happened was the 11th of May, 2020, so a bit more than half a year ago, 8 months ago. And this triggers the price to start moving up. As the price starts moving up, what kicks in is what we in the Bitcoin community calls number go up technology, NGU tech. So as the price starts to move up from this lack of supply, it starts dragging in more people. And I'm sure you can all, what's up, BTC Moon Guy? I'm sure you all recognize the Bitcoin being more interesting as the price goes up. It becomes more attractive. Everybody wants to make money. When people see a graph of an asset which price move up, more people want to own it. So that what starts after the halving as a slightly positive trending price development draws in people, it gets steeper, draws in more people, gets even steeper. And historically, this has caused a bull run that the first time took 12 months, last time took 18 months, and it just goes way higher, the price, or it has done so historically, than at the time of the halving. So let's take, for instance, the last halving. The price was of Bitcoin around the last halving was around $600. That triggered then the bull run, which ended up taking Bitcoin all the way to 20,000. Now it's in such a bull run that I believe we are. And let me just state for everyone that I don't give financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I share my personal opinion. And you should always seek to educate yourself, speak to professionals, and do what you think is right for yourself. Everyone here are responsible for their own actions, including their investment decisions. I'm just sharing my opinion. And I will get to the questions after a little bit of an intro and a few things I just want to cover. So my expectations for the bull run, which I have publicly stated on Etoro and on Twitter for that matter, where I'm also quite active, is that we will see minimum $300,000 by Q1 2022. So give or take 14 months. Latest, I expect to see $300,000. We could easily hit 300,000 by Q3 this year. I just don't want to throw out that prediction that I'm not very certain will happen. So let's see. But it's a fact that this current bull run is steeper than the last bull run, highly likely because the current massive amount of COVID stimulus that is going out to companies, that is going out to private people, is just killing the dollar faster. And it's the same all over the world. When they print more money, it just kills. Well, it's not money, it's currency, because if you look up money in the dictionary, money can store value. Fiat currency cannot store value. It's a built-in policy to steal the value of your savings by printing more. But they managed to convince you that it's good for you to steal the value of your savings. I mean, imagine. And the way they did this was to convince you and convince us that this is the way that we keep people in jobs, by stimulating. But guess what? Before they started ruining the money of people, so it became only currency, people also had jobs. The fastest productivity growth in the United States history was from 1873 till 1892, so 20 years, 2 decades, where productivity in the United States grew with almost a factor of 3. It went from index 30 to index 79, almost factor 3 in just 20 years. When United States and the rest of the world was on sound money, gold was the last sound money we had that was acting as money. Then came along Bitcoin in 2009, which is way superior as sound money as gold. And that's why we're seeing gold being disrupted as sound money by Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is still super cheap compared to gold. In my opinion, it will take over. It will not only take over gold, it's going to take over the inferior fiat currency of the world, including dollar, euro, yen, rubles, etc., simply because it is way better to store value. Bitcoin has on top of it a layer that is called Lightning Network. Lightning Network is instant and free transactions. I don't know if you guys heard about it. Anyone checking in from Bitcoin Twitter definitely heard about it. I recommend being active, or at least snooping around on Bitcoin Twitter, because there is a lot of great information. There's a lot of latest news. But recently, a guy called Jack Mallers and his team developed an app called Strike, and this app is built on top of, or it's using Lightning Network, and I can basically send 2 cents of a dollar to a friend on the East Coast of United States at 0 cost, and it's instant. And once it's rolled out in the rest of the world, which is about to happen, then so I just gotta answer my buddy here that I'm usually doing Toxic Happy Hour with on the same channel. He's asking what's going on. So anyways, And yeah, I want to recommend, so we have this show called Toxic Happy Hour on the same YouTube channel here, my YouTube channel. And I know I've been giving a lot of warning on eToro that we have a lot of banter. We give each other a hard time. We are rough. We're tough, or whatever you want to say. So I've been kind of keeping it sort of a little bit, and not exposing the eToro too much for that. Where I'm trying to be a little bit more sort of clean. But honestly, you should check out our Toxic Happy Hour shows. They are. I think what we hear from people are they're quite funny. We have a great fun time ourselves, and we have some amazing, really smart guests, like the smartest brains in the Bitcoin community are guests for on Toxic Happy Hour. We've had, the last 2 months have absolutely exploded. We only started 4 months ago. All right, so my friend is still writing to me. All right, it's regarding something else that can wait, has to wait, unfortunately. So what I wanted to say with this Strike app is utilizing the Bitcoin Lightning Network, and Bitcoin Lightning Network is instant transactions and they're free. So that also debunks the thought of no one's using Bitcoin as money right now. And this is going to be rolled out in the entire world with all currencies in the entire world, the Strike app, which means that, I can send my niece in Denmark $2 for an ice cream or whatever it costs, and there's no fee, there's no waiting, there's no 3 days, there's no $15 to accept a wire transfer. It just goes straight there, and it's instant. And then it is in her local currency. She can pull it out to her bank account or her debit card, or if the place she goes to buy ice cream accepts Lightning, which is not so broad yet, she can also just play with the Lightning Network directly. Anyway, so Strike is something I recommend start playing around with. I believe it's the future, a very important future app in payments in general. Anyways, back to my bull run expectations. So the 300,000, I believe, is conservative. Honestly, right now, I cannot imagine a world where Bitcoin does not hit 300,000 latest Q1 next year. However, and this is not something I'm going to say is my expectation, because that is I don't want to give anyone the impression that this is going to happen. But because the bull run is steeper and than the last one, not as steep as the one in 2013, but steeper than the one in 16-17, then it could also top earlier. So instead of Q1, it may even top Q3 this year, maybe Q4, but it could also be Q3. And the price might go significantly higher than 300,000. We could hit 500,000 just in Q3. And if you believe that that is totally unrealistic and out of this world, just look at the price runs we had in 16-17, for instance. And remember, when you look at that this bull run is steeper. So that could suggest, but let's see what happens the next couple of months. But that suggests we could go, as high as $500,000, if not more, by even Q3 this year. Those are my expectations for the bull run. I only want to make the prediction that we hit 300,000 latest 14 months from now, Q1 2022. The notifications on eToro are a challenge for me to keep up with. The way it's built is not for massive amounts of questions and comments. I really try to answer everyone on eToro, but it's difficult through that communication system that eToro has. That's why the way I try and answer questions is I look at my last 1, 2, 3 posts and see if there's any new comments there in extension, and if there is, I try and answer all of those. I, of course, particularly pay attention to my copiers, as they have my first priority. If I don't answer anyone's question, it's simply because I haven't seen it, because the way the notifications are built. So to try and help on that, because many of you like to sometimes send a message directly to me, and I don't see that unless I go through a lot of notifications, which is what is just, the system is not built for that. In my pin post, I have a link to my Twitter account. And I recommend, if you want to get hold of me and have a one-on-one communication, please go to my Twitter. My DM, which is direct message, is open on Twitter. So you can ask me questions there. You can send me a screenshot of something if you're in doubt. I will try and do my best. No guarantee for answering everything, but so far I have ever answered everyone that approached me on Twitter. So I want to also just talk about the stop losses that people use. I have mentioned already this in my pin post. I get a lot of questions that I already actually answered in my pin post, so please take a look at my pin post, go through it. Also, check the last couple of my posts. This is, if you copy me with your savings, this is your money. This is important. At least read my posts so you are informed about my strategy, the way I look at things, and what I say I think is a good idea or not a good idea. At least so you have that input. It's not advice, but at least so you have my input. Please check out the things that are right there. For instance, Tether is something I've been asked about a lot of times. The last 3-4 days, there's been this story about Tether manipulating the price of Bitcoin. Nothing can manipulate a price long term. Short term, yes, different things have an influence, but nothing. You can't manipulate anything long term, really. At the end of the day, that finds its natural level, is my opinion. So at least not long-term significant price manipulation. So Tether, I absolutely almost couldn't care less. I don't believe that it'll have a material impact. And regarding some other questions about government and president inauguration, if anything happens in terms of non-peaceful demonstrations or whatever, just remember, the dollar is based on a trust in the government. And if there's any non-peaceful activity start, if anything, that is not good for the dollar. Anything, it's bullish for Bitcoin. So I have absolutely zero fear of anything bad happening in the world being bad for Bitcoin. Bitcoin feeds off any of this disruption of the existing legacy system. All right, regarding stop losses, which is something I started talking about before, let me just have a sip of water because unlike when we do toxic happy hour, where I get a chance to breathe and have a sip of water or beer or whatever, bourbon, then right now I'm just speaking myself, so allow me to just get a break here. So I don't use stop losses myself. The reason I don't use stop losses is I am so confident of $300,000 minimum. So if I have a stop loss, it basically means you are forced to sell your Bitcoin when the price is low. Let's say you put a stop loss of 25% and it actually goes down 25%. Well, you just sold your Bitcoin 25% below where it was before, maybe from where you bought it. I don't want to sell my Bitcoin cheap, and I don't think anyone should sell their Bitcoin cheap. So if you're confident about we're going up here, you may not be, but if you are confident that we're going up to 300,000, which I am, I don't want to sell my Bitcoin in a dip. In a dip, I want to buy more. If I have any dry powder, I throw it in if I feel the dip is big enough. I never sell cheap. If you want to be rich, you don't want to sell cheap. You want to buy cheap and sell expensive. So that's also why I mean, my input to you when you set a stop loss is don't make it too tight. If you make the stop loss too tight, then you will end up being stopped out when the price is low. So if I was you, I would make the stop loss wide. But I'm only saying that because I'm 100% allocated to Bitcoin. If I was allocated, and I never would be allocated to altcoins because I consider them absolute utter garbage. But if I was allocated to altcoins, I would probably be feeling it's a good idea with a stop loss, because when that thing is going to drop 90%, maybe sooner or later, of course, I wouldn't want to lose. But I don't want to focus on that. I consider everything else than Bitcoin garbage. So now, that's also a question I get often. So one thing also that's important to say is, so my expectation for this bull run of being minimum 300,000, we're talking about the medium term. We're talking within, 10, 12, 14 months. That it doesn't end there, in my opinion. We're not going to end at 300,000 and then slide down. There can be a bear market. I'm not saying there's not a bear market. There could be a bear market. That could be a 60% correction, a 50%, a 40%. A 30%. We don't know yet. That's a moving target for me, and I will, adjust my potential profit taking on the cycle trade that I'm doing here on Etoro towards how the whole thing plays out, how everything plays out, how much companies start saying we want to buy Bitcoin to store value instead of dirty fiat, which cannot store value. As companies in 2020, especially MicroStrategy, started to buy Bitcoin and sell their fiat currency, their dollar, to store value better. If we see a lot of that going on now, we could be in the millions before 2024. So am I interested in a stop loss that could stop me out at 30,000? No way. I am sitting on this, and come a bull run top at 300, 400, 500, 600,000. As it is right now, I probably will not sell more than 10, 20% here on Etoro, and aim to buy it, try and time it to buy back at at the correction. But it depends how much I expect the correction. The correction. If Apple says they're going to allocate 100 billion to Bitcoin, there won't be much correction. So that's a moving target. But what's important is that 3, 4, 5, 600,000, maybe even a million. That is a medium term thing for me. There can be a correction. That's what I still think there will be. But that, after that, we continue upwards, and highly likely fast upwards. And I absolutely believe that Bitcoin will be worth millions of dollars for one Bitcoin when we get a couple of years from now. Say 23, 24. Yes, absolutely. I believe so. It's not financial advice, but that is my strong conviction. And that's, my money is where my mouth is. I'm not trying to sit here and just, sound bullish for the sake of entertainment. All of my money is where my mouth is. So we're in the same boat, in case you copy me. All right. So on to the questions. That was the introduction. I hope that gave you some kind of idea of how we'll look at things. I will now go back and have a look at the different chat messages. Thank you guys for participating. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. All right, so Jody, you're thinking of cashing out 50%, save me. Of course, it's your decision. I don't give financial advice. If it was me, I would not sell 50%, being so confident we're going above 300,000. Why would I sell anything at 40,000 or 37,000 if I believe it's going to be worth 300,000, more than 300,000? So I wouldn't touch it. Once we cross 300,000, I absolutely, understand and also think it's a good idea to at least take your initial investment off the table. Some people can use it for a down payment for a car, or down payment for a house, or pay off the mortgage or buy a house, depending how much you invested and if it happens. Moose, hello to Arizona. Shout out to you. Shout out to New Jersey, Jacqueline. BTC Moon Guy. I don't know if he's still around, but BTC Moon Guy here is one of our most solid followers on the Toxic Happy Hour show here on the same channel. I highly recommend tune in. You will learn something, because we have very, very intelligent people from the Bitcoin community as our guests. It's amazing how Bitcoiners are willing to help other Bitcoiners, and me and my co-host, who by no means are something special in the Bitcoin community, are able to attract some really big names, which is great. And BTC Moon Guy is there almost every single show. Shout out to you, Moon Guy. And we have a lot of fun. It's tough humor, it's dark, it's ironic, but we have fun. And we live once, in my opinion, so might as well have fun doing it. So, all right. So, Jacqueline, you can either I'm not sure if you can uncopy some of your copy, or you can wait for me to take that 10, 15, 20%, or whatever I choose to, depending on the situation and depending how the bull run develops. Let's say I take 15%, and sell that for profit when I believe that we are really near the height of a bull run, in order to buy back afterwards when it gets lower. You could take that cash and then it becomes available unused funds on your copy, and you can withdraw that. So you can either do that, or I don't know if other copiers can help you, if you can uncopy a certain percentage of the copy. I'm not sure about that. There's a lot of things that you guys see as copiers that I never see, because I'm not copying anyone. I'm focused on basically the asset itself, Bitcoin, and everything around that. All right. So Glenn Doherty has a question here. Gold was illegal to own from 1933 to 75, 42 years. Why don't you think an executive order can do the same? I absolutely believe that that could happen. And if it happens, it's important to have custody of your own Bitcoin, which means it can't be on an exchange. When will it happen? We don't know. Will it happen? We don't know. But I believe, I hope that enough politicians adopt Bitcoin, which I believe is the trend, so that hopefully it doesn't happen. Also, because gold, you know, government could find it, police could find it with metal detectors. They can't do that with Bitcoin. So if rumor comes that that they want to confiscate your Bitcoin, it's going to disappear. And they can't take it from people. So, I mean, I'm hopeful it doesn't happen, but ideally, you then want to have some of that Bitcoin in self-custody. So I believe that Bitcoin takes over as money of the world. It's going to take over, in my opinion, as global reserve currency. It's going to take over as money in Europe, in US, Japan, Russia, China, etc. When that happens, my account here on Etoro will move away from being an account only holding the money of the world, but starting to buy other assets like stocks. It just makes no sense to me right now, because everything goes down denominated in Bitcoin. I know that Ethereum, people are saying that Ethereum is back at its all-time high. Yeah, if you measure it in dollar, which is pretty much collapsing in value in real time, faster and faster, year for year, dollar is dropping in value. If you look at how much can it buy of assets like houses. Let me once again. So once we get to a scenario where Bitcoin has taken over as money of the world, it'll no longer have that aggressive price rise naturally, because it can't have an aggressive price rise in dollar if dollar stop existing, because nobody cares about it. So in that case, Bitcoin will grow in value together with production growth in society, which will increase, because currently the Federal Reserve monetary system, central banks, are misallocating capital on a massive scale. So we're used to GDP growth of 2.5% or something. I think that will go above 5%, if not more, in terms of real growth, because capital once again will be allocated by the free market. It will go to where it can generate more value, instead of basically the price of capital, the price of money is interest rate, and that is not free market. It is it's decided by a committee, just like back in the old days in Soviet Union, you had a committee deciding the price of goods and services. It really destroyed productivity, it destroyed production value. And with money, it's the same. But the funny thing is, they convinced all of us that that is a good idea. It's not. It's supposed to stop. The cycle is supposed to stop. Um, the recessions and depressions and the Great Recession, etc. It doesn't. It's in my opinion an absolute utter scam, and no more will we stand for that. And Bitcoin is our way out. Jody is going to buy more. I mean, I think it's a good idea, but you know, I'm not an advisor, so it's of course, it's your decision. All right. I see Moose is. All right. Moose is answering Jacqueline, so I'm going to leave that one. In general, I will try and take the questions that I see will bring most value to all of you. Okay, so I may miss some. Maybe I can take them next time. I like to do this. I hope to do it, you know, at least a couple of times a month. Anyway, so Tristan here. When we sell at $300,000 but want to keep a considerable amount in, do you recommend selling first in, first out, or the other way around? First in, first out. You know, that is a tax question, I think. So if I sell 10% of our holdings, you know, if it's the first in or first out in terms of the dollar value, that doesn't matter. So that is not up to me. I think that's a tax question. But you know what? Since I've taken a lot of positions, some of them are from way back, then maybe that plays in. You know what? If you find out anything, you are on my Twitter DM. Let me know. I am not sure about that. And BTC Moon Guy here is saying that we have the best after parties on Toxic Happy Hour. That's absolutely true. So what has happened this Monday when we had Andy Edstrom, and the Friday 9 days before, well, 10 days before that, when we had Robert Breedlove, we had Knut Svanholm, which is a great Bitcoin thinker from Scandinavia. He popped on, and then we had I mean, once again, we're informal through and through. From A to C, we're just informal. We're there to have a good time. We tend to have a more relaxed banter going on with our guests, and you know, the chat, the viewers enjoy it. We love it. We have a fun time doing it. And yeah, so Knut Svanholm and at other occasions as well have joined, just, you know, random spontaneous after party where we pour another bourbon and enjoy ourselves and talk Bitcoin, you know, bullish Bitcoin talk. All right, what else we got? All right, so Jacqueline is. What else we got here? Let's see. Looking for a question. Adam Sørensen, so you must be either from Denmark or a descendant from Denmark. You could be from Denmark, who knows? So if I balance my position between Bitcoin and cash, absolutely not at all. It's a little bit like what I said in the beginning, that we're in a bull run with an average price increase on a daily basis that is quite high. And because we on average go up quite a bit on a daily basis, I think it's futile to trade the short term. I want to have full 100% exposure. So when the pump in Bitcoin comes, I want to get 100% of that. I don't want to get 80% of that because I thought I was cute and could trade the short term. So in a halving cycle bull run, I will be 100%. Or very close to 100%. Once we reach what I believe could be the top of the bull run, which could happen anytime from Q3 this year to Q1 next year, I may take 5, 10, 15, 20, 25% off if I'm confident at the time, and that's a moving target, that there will be a significant correction or a significant dip, because that's the plan here. I want to increase the amount of Bitcoin for myself and for my holders. That's the whole strategy that I'm doing here. Jacqueline, how do I copy you with money in Bitcoin? When I try to copy you, it only allows me to deposit, which comes from a bank. That is correct. Look, if you already have Bitcoin, especially if you have Bitcoin outside of Etoro, just hold on to it. Don't trade it. In my opinion, I wouldn't trade it. Just hold on to it. We have an asset here that could go up 500x from its current level. So what I'm doing, especially because the risk of Bitcoin just going through the roof from here on is increasing. Buying and holding Bitcoin, it really is a great strategy. My strategy is to try and trade this 4-year cycle. I still believe that we're going to have a 4-year cycle. Plan B, which is a big inspiration for me. I would say when he came out with his first work in March 2018, March 2019, it supported a lot of the thoughts and ideas I had, but he put it in structure, and this was like, statistically significant mathematical formula to support the expected price and price development in Bitcoin compared to its inflation. I have the link to Plan B down below, and therefore, the potential is so big. Don't sell your Bitcoin for dollar to copy me. I would just hold on to the Bitcoin. Now, that's against my financial incentive to say that, but honestly, I am here to help people the most possible, and I'd rather that you do well. I don't need, I don't want to squeeze, a few more percent of the incentive that Etoro pays me to help you guys make money. I don't want to squeeze that further up if it's detrimental to your investments. I want to help everyone to make the most possible. I will be okay. I am okay. I don't know. I mean, it's more important for me that you do well. So if it's Bitcoin you have, I would say hold on to it. If it's fiat currency, dollar that you want to copy me with me, then that's the way to go about it. All right. I don't think. Tristan, Tracy. Sorry, now let me just double check. Tristan, I believe. Well, can you tell everyone the motivation of the mainstream media and the non-coiners and what their true institutional goal is? I don't think people understand the propaganda and how they try to affect the market. Yeah, so governments, money is a power base. If you see Scarface, you'll hear him saying, first you get the money, then you get the power, then you get the women. That's a famous line from Scarface, which is a great movie. I've seen it several times. And of course, government is not necessarily interested in the last part about using the power to get women, but they're interested in the power that it gives to government. So government will try and fight Bitcoin, create fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And they don't like that Bitcoin is taking away power from them, because when we have a fiat currency like the dollar, then they can print money and spend it without asking your permission. If we are on sound money that they can't just dilute, then they need to raise money for war through taxes. They need to raise money for all their overspending through taxes, and people won't stand for that. No, I mean, would you pay 80% tax? No, you would probably leave and go somewhere else. And currently, the government spends twice of what it gets in tax revenue. So it's absolutely unsustainable. And don't think that the government, even the United States government, can't default, because it already did twice the last 100 years. First time in 1933, when they owed the entire population of United States owed gold. The dollar bills we had, I believe it was initially $20, could be redeemed for 1 ounce of gold. In 1933, the government said, you know what, guys, we're going to keep the gold, and then we're going to pretend that dollars now is money. Even though it's just paper, we're just going to pretend that has value. It doesn't. It's just paper. And then by law, it was enforced that you need to use that. So fiat currency like the dollar, the euro, it's no different from any central bank. In my opinion, is an absolute utter joke. And we're essentially all being scammed by it when they just print more of it and dilute the value of your savings. So when we have sound money like Bitcoin as money, then it reduces the government's power, and mainstream media is in the pocket of deep state. You know, I don't have any proof, but I mean, you follow the incentive, you follow the money, and you start to understand why things are as they are. Apparently, the Fed is a privately owned entity, yet it's not. We can't audit it. You know, that is just the biggest scam, in my opinion, and is the most evil and destructive force in society today. And to understand that better, so I don't go into a 10-minute discussion of that, go back and see some of the previous videos here on the channel. Go back and see our interview with Jeff Booth, which was in, I believe, early December. An absolute legend, one of my favorite macroeconomic thinkers. He wrote this book, The Price of Tomorrow. Jeff Booth, there you go. There we spent close to 2 hours over a couple of beers discussing how terrible this fiat currency system is, and why deflation is so much better for the world and for humanity than inflation. That they convinced 99+% of the population is good for them. I hope that answers your question. Let's go on and see what else we have here. All right, so a very relevant question from Abdul Latif. I recently started copying you on Etoro. Do you invest in altcoins, or have any faith in any to invest a percentage in? No, I believe that pretty much all the altcoins are utter garbage. They are centralized projects that tell you that they're decentralized, and they have a lot of money to manipulate the message in media to tell you that they're a great product. Because, for instance, Ethereum, I believe, gave 70% of the outstanding Ethereum to themselves and then sold the remaining 30%. And then on top of that, the mining is happening. So they have a lot of funds to convince you. They have a marketing budget to convince you that it's better than Bitcoin. It's not. It's garbage. It's technological garbage, in my opinion. The same goes with XRP, Ripple. It basically, both of these, Ethereum, Ripple, and others, are illegal securities according to the law in the United States. And when you have an illegal security, it's it's a risk of that thing going to zero, which it probably is anyway, in my opinion. So I think that they are a waste of money. Money is a winner takes all game. I also made a video probably 4 months ago. If you scroll down in my YouTube feed, there's a video on Gresham's Law. It takes only 8 minutes. It explains why money is a winner takes all game, and it always has been. And that's the law of nature, that through human psychology, you will always choose to have the strongest money. If you hold 3 different money or currencies, you will end up spending the weaker one first. So you end up sitting with the strongest, and that is Bitcoin. And Bitcoin doesn't have a marketing budget because there's no central authority, which, by the way, like Ethereum Foundation, Ripple Company, etc., is weak points. If you have something centralized, it can be shut down by government, like Napster back in the days, that was file sharing, music and movies. That was shut down because it was centralized. Ethereum is centralized to a large extent, and so is Ripple. You have a company running it, and for that reason, they, if they were a threat to the government, they would be already shut down. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is decentralized. There's no one there that you can shut down. It is running on more than 10,000 nodes that each keep a copy of the ledger of the blockchain, and you basically can't attack it. So let's see where we at. All right. If you bought 29 BTC, you probably mean you bought $29,000. But if you bought 29 BTC, congratulations, you're gonna be very rich, in my opinion. I mean, $29,000 already is a lot of money. I'm glad I'm calming your nerves. You're banned on Twitter. Oh, Jody. Oh, yeah. Okay. It clicked now. I remember who you are. Yeah. All right, you probably have those 29, but yeah, I'm glad that I can calm you down. I get that's what I'm trying to do here, because I get a lot of questions from nervous people that don't look at the fact that Bitcoin went up. Let me just give you the numbers. Let me find, Bitcoin went up massively October, massively in November, massively in December, again in January. And then people, zoom in and say, oh, but the last 3 days it went down 10%. Nothing goes up in a straight line. Let's see here. I'm going to screen share this with you guys, so you can see how much Bitcoin has gone up in these. Let me see. All right. All right, you should be able to see that now. Let me scroll down. So in January, so far, Bitcoin is up 19% from 1st of January. So honestly, guys, if you're telling me you're nervous because Bitcoin dropped from 40 or 42,000 and we are now up only 19%, I mean, we are up 19%. It's a lot. So zoom out, take the bigger picture. It will help you. Don't let the short term mess with your thinking. Don't let the short term mess with your emotions. I'm really not trying to talk down. I'm just trying to help you guys look at the bigger picture, because I think I find calming in the bigger picture, and hopefully you can do the same. If we go and look at October last year, we're up 28.5%. November, Bitcoin was up 40%. December, and honestly, I don't know if these are a little bit divergent from the actual Bitcoin price because I buy dips. But it's so little that I do that it very much does reflect the price of Bitcoin. December, Bitcoin was up 47%, and in January, 19%. I mean, that is four. I hope you could see it. It's 4 months in a row with massive value increase or price increase of Bitcoin. So again, why do you want to have a tight stop loss and risks, being stopped out of your position, being forced to sell cheap when you can you can see the direction? We're in a bull run, and if you study history like I have done on Bitcoin, of course, there's no guarantee that it won't crash and go to zero in February. I think the chance is 0%. I think there's near 100% chance that we're going to the 300,000. It's near that. I can't, there's no guarantee. This is not financial advice, but I don't want to be forced to sell my Bitcoin below 40,000. I don't want to be forced to sell it below 200,000. I will only take a little bit off the table, somewhere above 300, maybe 500. And that is to, allow myself to maybe get a transport, because right now I want to be 100% in Bitcoin. But the majority is just going to ride this baby to the top, which I believe will be millions of dollars per Bitcoin. Do I want to sell at 36,000? Absolutely not. You have a input here, Clark, about blockchain overall. There's only one blockchain that matters, that is Bitcoin. Because for a blockchain to work, it needs to have a valuable token to incentivize the miner to make it unhackable by any government. Even if all the government colluded, you need to have a valuable token to make the blockchain secure. And since money is a winner takes all game, then one token will end up being valuable. So only one token on one blockchain will end up being secure enough. And that is why, sure, you see Ethereum right now, you see the other blockchains, Litecoin, and all the other junk, in my opinion, out there. But that is only till Gresham's law takes Bitcoin up to the 90% of global monetary value, 95%, 98%. And once we start approaching 100%, that's when all these absolute utter garbage coins, including Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, United States dollars, Euro, they will be squeezed out. I think, again, it's not financial advice. This is just input. All right, Coach Bailey Cooper, still camping. Cheers to you in the backyard. Sounds great. Let me see what other questions I may have here. All right, so this is a relevant question, Tyler Owens. How can Bitcoin be the currency of the world when there will only be 21 million coins? That doesn't seem like enough. So what is important is that a money system is a money system. And what is important is that it doesn't increase, so it dilutes the value of each unit. Doesn't matter how many units there are. Each Bitcoin can be subdivided to 100 million Satoshis, which right now, are really, really cheap. What's important is that you have a money system that is sound money. It is hard capped. It's not being diluted and stealing the value of your savings by being more and more and more. So you don't need to have a full Bitcoin. You don't even need to have 10% of a Bitcoin. You need to have Satoshis. That's the smallest denomination. The more you have, the more you own of the money system of the future, and the richer you will be in measured in purchasing power. So, right, what else do we have? Hope I answered your question. So 2 months from now, as I said earlier, and I write on a regular basis on Etoro, the short term is unpredictable. Nobody knows the short term, but I feel history and analysis of the environment and, for instance, quantitative easing on steroids that we're seeing right now with the money printer going brrr, as we say, that makes it easier, I think, to know what's going to happen medium term, 1 year from now, 1.5 years from now, 5, 10 years from now. Short term, nobody knows. We could take a dip, we can take a correction. I almost don't care. If there is a hard correction, I'm not going to panic. I'm going to buy more. I will look in my bank account and see if I have any dust left of dirty fiat and throw it right at this baby, which I believe is sound money that's going to increase a lot in value. But that being said, to try and answer your question, but again, the short term, I don't claim to have the answer. But if I should give that a try, I would say I don't really see us not being above 50,000. So 2 months from now, I expect us to be above 50,000. Are we going to be at 42? Maybe. Could we be lower than now? Of course, it's theoretically possible, but we've never before been in a bull run where 2 months later at this phase of the bull run, we are lower than where we are now. We could be at 80,000. We could be at 100,000. I just feel very comfortable that this is the direction of the bull run, and I don't want to be on the sidelines being cute about trading the short term. Coach Bailey Cooper, glad you can use it. 100,000 by May, I would absolutely say that is a possibility, but not something I would bet on. I'm betting on the long term, but it's absolutely possible. HODL for the long term, that's what we're doing here on eToro. Yeah, so we have a dip currently. You could say we were at 42,000. Right now, we're sitting around 36,000. It's a dip. So when we started dipping a little bit more violently earlier on, I bought a little bit at 35. I bought a little bit at, I think, 34 and a half. I bought a little bit at 34. I woke up next morning and saw Bitcoin at 32,000. And then I took as much dry powder as I felt I responsibly could do and threw it at Bitcoin at 32. And now we're at 36. So I think that's the way to do it. It's buying the dip. It's never selling the dip. If you want to be poor, sell the dip. And that's why I try to give you guys comfort and ease in mind. It's your decision, but I try to give you my thoughts, and hopefully they can be used for having a strong hand and not a weak hand. and have a strong hand through the dips, have a strong hand through the corrections, and help you sit on this baby majority of what you have until we're in the millions of dollars. I know everyone, whatever you invested, if we go 100x from here, which I absolutely believe is going to happen, which is $3.5–4 million per Bitcoin. Whatever you invested, if you invested $500, that's going to be $50,000. There's no guarantee, but that's what I strongly believe myself. I believe I have reached the end of the chat. There hasn't been any questions thrown at me for the last 7–8 minutes. I don't know if it's fully updated from YouTube. Let me know if you have any more questions. I enjoy doing this. I know it's late on the East Coast, but I kind of just have to do this when I can find the time. I will absolutely try and squeeze this in. If I can do it on a weekly basis, that would be great. There's no guarantee, but the more successful we are here, the more people that needs questions answered and have input in general about to Bitcoin, then the more I can justify taking my time here and be available. Again, if you want to ask me questions directly, I have a link in my in my pin post to my Twitter account where you can send me. Click on the little envelope icon. It'll go to my direct message where you can ask me a question one-on-one. Feel free to ask questions in the open forum also on Twitter. That is great in the sense that other people can benefit from our discussion. But yeah. Bailey Cooper. Yeah, likewise, man. I love all you guys. I want to help you guys, stay calm and help. There's a lot of you guys that I can see the amount of money you have invested. I believe this is the road to financial independence, and I love if I can help you guys to stay the course, because that's all it takes, in my opinion, to stay the course and become significantly financial independent for you and your potential children, your loved ones. Aussie Bear, Marcus, if you're out there watching, enjoy the beach. I'll try and find time for that. MK Durpa, thank you. You're welcome, man. I appreciate hanging out with you guys. Clark, thank you, and you're welcome. Abdul Latif, thank you very much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Everyone, hop on Twitter. And again, a final shout out. Go check out my YouTube channel where this video is hosted. If you want to see the Toxic Happy Hour, just bring your sense of humor, and we are hard on each other. We make fun of each other. That's how we roll as we talk about Bitcoin. So we have fun, but we try and bring a great conversation with great inputs from amazing guests. We have a hilarious chat. I claim we have the best chat in the Bitcoin space in terms of YouTube, Bitcoin YouTube channels. They're having a lot of fun. They're hard on each other. They're hard on us. I throw the chats on the screen, and when they're hard on us, I still throw it on, because we're just, if you take yourself so serious, life is going to get boring. You got to be able to laugh at yourself, laugh at each other, and have a good time. My buddy, a puppy, as he goes by, is one of my best friends now. I met him in Bitcoin community 2 years ago. I speak to him on a weekly basis. I've never met the guy. Hopefully I do that within this year. But we know each other well. We're buddies through the world of Bitcoin. Abdul, going to put some more money in. Thank you, brother. I hope to help you succeed and make significant, financial freedom. That's what I'm doing for myself, in my opinion. But yeah, check out the YouTube channel if you want to see those Toxic Happy Hours and our after parties when they do happen. That's where we're usually a little bit more toast. Then subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button, then you will see when we go live. If you follow me on Twitter, then you'll be able to see when I post upcoming shows. Right now, we have an upcoming show with Knut Svanholm, our first ever gate crasher of a Toxic Happy Hour. He's a Scandinavian guy who has done amazing content in the Bitcoin space, and we have the honor and joy of having him on. Monday next week. So it's going to be Monday the 25th at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And if you're elsewhere in the world, adjust accordingly. How much do you need to invest to earn a Bitcoin? So you know what, Michael Friedman? I don't like to spend my money at all because I believe money I spend on Bitcoin is going to go up 500x in purchasing power. So I didn't pay for this. I started a Bitcoin meetup in Century City, Los Angeles, back 3.5 years ago. And this was a gift from one of my my good friends and steady guests at the meetup. What I have, after we went from 20K to 40K in no time, I did allow myself to get this this hoodie, which has a honey badger, which is the symbol for Bitcoin, is the Bitcoin animal. Honey badger don't care is what it says, because Bitcoin doesn't care. It can't be killed. If you ever see any YouTube videos on honey badgers, they are vicious animals and they'll take on a lion if they're threatened, and they're not scared. So that's how we see Bitcoin. All right. You are most welcome, Moose. 6 days. No FB, no install. I don't understand that. Rule 62, not sure what that is. Coach Bailey Cooper, shout out to you. Appreciate the trust. And I hope I can return it by giving you the best return in terms of purchasing power that any copy I can give. So far, so good. Pass the Kool-Aid. All right. Awesome. True love for your coin. Thanks for all. Yes. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it and enjoy it. I hope you guys have a great evening. I know it's late now on the East Coast. As I usually say on Toxic Happy Hour, as we end the show, be careful storing more value in fiat currency, dirty fiat, than you can afford to lose, because it's a built-in policy for the dollar to lose value. And they have convinced you that it's a good idea. Although I got to say, no, I don't want my savings destroyed. That's why I Bitcoin. And that's why you should consider Bitcoin. I'm not telling you to because I'm not a financial advisor. It's my input. I have my money where my mouth is. On that note, thanks for hanging out, guys. Think about subscribing and notifications if you want to see Toxic Happy Hour. We have a ball there. And yeah. All right. Have a great night, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.